Democrats don't care about American citizens. All they really care about is moving forward their leftist progressive agenda, no matter the cost. And of course, this brings up the topic of sanctuary cities and how they're actually hurting America and the constituents of the Democrat Party itself. But of course, to people like Joe Scarborough, this only matters when tragedy strikes, as it did in New York City. So before we get to these clips, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we break the algorithms. Here we go.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams announcing the arrest of a suspect in the shooting of an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer. NBC News correspondent Kamala Bernal has the details.
This is the moment DHS says an off-duty Customs and Border Protection officer is ambushed and shot late Saturday by a man with a deportation order. Authorities believe two men who approached on a scooter were attempting to rob the 42-year-old officer who was in a park with a friend. Two senior law enforcement sources say it appears to be a random encounter. The alleged shooter, identified by police as Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez of the Dominican Republic. New York City's police commissioner says he approached the officer from behind, and that's when the officer drew his service weapon.
The perp fired first, and an exchange of gunfire followed. The officer was struck in the forearm and in the face.
Mora Nunez was taken into custody after going to the hospital to be treated for his injuries. Authorities confirming he had previously been arrested for domestic violence, robbery, assault, and was wanted in Massachusetts for kidnapping. President Trump saying on Truth Social that Mora Nunez was apprehended at the border in April 2023, but instead of being deported, was released.
Let's make something incredibly clear today. Our officer is a hero. If not for his efforts, this person of interest would have committed more armed robberies.
The officer is expected to make a full recovery.
With us now, the NYPD's Chief of Department, John Schell. Chief, tell us what happened.
Well, this Miguel Mora went into a park on Saturday night, Riverside Park, and two people on a moped, which you've seen in the city for years, and we think he committed one robbery 5 minutes prior to trying to rob our federal agent, and you saw the shootout. You know, quite frankly, this should never have happened, and thank God he's going to be okay. But let's just timeline this. Mr. Mora came into this country April of 23. He was giving a notice to appear for a judge hearing. He didn't show up. The judge issued a deportation order November 6th of 24. He goes in front of a judge a couple weeks later for an arrest, and by our sanctuary city laws, we can't detain him. From there, he decides to rob someone in the Bronx in December of 24, stab someone in January of 25 in the Bronx, and then takes a trip to Worcester County, Mass, and robs a pawn store of numerous firearms. Don't know what he was doing from January till this past Saturday night, where you see two guys in a moped we've dealt with for years, robs a person of interest robbery 5 minutes prior, approaches a federal agent. You see the video right in front of you. The point that we're making here is this should never have occurred. We need thoughtful change to our sanctuary city laws in the city that protects our New Yorkers, and that's what he was. He was a New Yorker who happened to be an agent sitting in a park from these kind of criminals. And it's a small minority. We're not talking about the majority. Majority work hard, honest people, pursue the American dream. This person here, Miguel Mora, is the poster child for what is wrong with sanctuary city status in New York City.
Yeah, and Chief, you have said that. You've been very careful to explain. You understand the purpose behind sanctuary cities, and you understand that it's motivated by people with all of the best intentions. But the practical effect of that leads often to crimes like this. Again, it's a minority of those that have come to this country illegally, but still the inability to be able to lock them up because of a sanctuary city status. You say that's the real problem here.
No doubt about it. Like I said, we're a benevolent city. We want people to pursue the American dream. Hardworking, honest migrants, no doubt about it, there should be a path for you. But in the small minority, this judge should have the opportunity to detain this person. The people who were robbed, stabbed, this Border Patrol officer shot in the face, missing 7 teeth and a bullet lodged in it. They don't care about sanctuary city. They care about their safety. And this is what we are talking about. Thoughtful change for consequences for these actions.
So here we have another example of an illegal immigrant let into this country. And what do we have? A history of violence, a history of robberies and assaults, right? The worst possible behavior ever. But of course, what is the Democrat response? Sanctuary city status. Okay, we're not going to help law enforcement actually capture, detain, or deport anybody, right? No matter how bad of an actor they actually are. And of course, the defense of all this by Joe Scarborough is simply sickening, right? All of these sanctuary cities, they're done with the best of intentions. No, they're done with the intention of flouting federal law, of disobeying our immigration policies, all right? Because all of these leftist cities, what do they want to do? They want to hold on to the new mascot of the Democrat Party, the next generation of voters for the Democrats, or at least so they think, okay? So that's what's really going on here. There's nothing noble or brave about any of this. It's just people choosing to disobey the law. Okay. And by the way, when we talk about obeying the law, there's this huge lie floating around that, illegal immigrants actually commit less crime than American citizens. And that is actually not true, because if you look over here at the Government Accountability Office, they released a report that said, hey, when you look at our federal prisons, who's actually inhabiting them, 27% are all illegal immigrants, right? 27%. And yet supposedly illegal immigrants make up about 8 to 9% of our country's population, which, by the way, is way too many to have in any nation whatsoever. But when you look at the types of crimes being committed by illegal immigrants, the data is pretty shocking. So let's break this down simply by the state of Texas. You can see this tan bar over here represents the overall Texas population convicted of homicide crimes per 100,000, 2.9, and that number stays pretty steady throughout the years. If you look at this dark blue bar, you can see that that's the illegals identified at arrest or the intake or while in prison as being illegal, convicted of homicides per 100,000. Now, look at these numbers. Which one's higher? All right. Which one's higher, the natural born population or the illegal immigrant population, right? And this other light blue bar, by the way, is illegals identified at time of arrest or intake. All right. So that's another one you can stack on top of it. And then down here, we have schmexual assault. Okay. And you see the same type of story. The tan bar, the overall Texas population, whereas the dark blue bar, illegals identified at arrest, intake, or while in prison per 100,000. All right. So this whole idea that illegal immigrants are committing less crime than the native population is a fallacy. It's wrong. Now, how in the world does the left keep touting these numbers then? Well, it's easy. They either mix in legal immigrants, which are actually way less likely to commit crimes than American citizens, with the illegal immigrants, and that's how they get that lower stat. But then also what they do is they take the numbers that don't identify what a nationality is and lump that in with American citizens, even though at a later date, often it's determined that, hey, they're actually illegal aliens as well. Okay, so that's how the left is always getting these numbers, and that's how, of course, they're trying to spin the narrative and have been actually very successful at it for the past several years. But never mind any of that. All that matters is this. Every single crime that is being committed by an illegal alien is a crime that did not have to happen. And the only reason they're allowed to happen is because the Democrats, the leftists, refuse to enforce our border laws. And this is something, of course, the American people recognized in 2024 and voted Donald Trump into office. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me. Do you like t-shirts? Of course you do. And now you can support the channel by buying an Angry Teacher t-shirt designed by me, Angry Teacher. So if you like America, if you like freedom, if you like liberty, then go ahead and click the link in the description where all designs, of course, are 100% mother approved. So enjoy yourself and find something you like today.